Hello everybody and welcome to episode 27 of my Guild Wars 2 series. Today we are continuing our adventures on our Asuran engineer that we made last episode, and at the very start of the episode I want to do a little bit of open world map completion, and then I want to dive into the first chapter of the Asuran personal story. So just starting off, I'm going to go ahead and run along this road here. We are in the Veloxian Passage, which is a fun location if you remember this from Guild Wars 1, and we are going to come up here and we are going to do the task here and all the other things around here. And I want to take some time to look at the rifle, the last weapon that we have to look at for the engineer. And yes, it is indeed the last weapon. If we come into our build here and we take a look at weapon skills, we can see all the different weapons that we can use, and the sword, hammer, and mace are all elite specialization weapons. So the only ones that we have available for us right now are pistols in our main hand and our offhand, the rifle and the shield in our offhand, and then of course a harpoon gun if we were to go underwater. So I'm going to go ahead and come into my equipment panel now, and I'm going to go down here, and in my alternate main hand weapon I'm going to go ahead and equip a rifle. And something important about engineer is that while we do have a weapon swap ability, we can only use this out of combat. So we can only have one weapon on us when we are in combat, so when we go into combat we need to make sure that we have the right weapon. I'll go ahead and just jump up here really quickly so we can get this vista, and then we can start working on this task around here. So just another little jumping puzzle, very kind of like super simple, super easy challenge, but still a little bit of an effort to get up here. And then here is the vista. Now we can drop down here, and we've already explored this point of interest here. It's the Brill Alliance Labs for the Brill crew, and let's begin helping them out by provoking captivated Skritt and calm enraged Skritt. If we come all the way over here, there is a pretty commonly missed area for people exploring for the first time, and we can see there's a giant Skritt cave over here, and we can kind of come just fight a few of them if we want. I think it'll progress our task a little bit, and we can take a look at our rifle. So rifle is actually a pretty recently updated weapon for engineer. It used to be a little bit different, but now it's arguably more fun. So looking at our auto attack skill, we can see it is called Rifle Burst, where we deliver a quick burst of fire that pierces targets followed by an explosive grenade. So basically how this works is, if you pay attention to it, we basically fire 2 shots and then fire a grenade that will blow up. And I believe our shots pierce, yes they do, so we can hit multiple enemies, and then the grenade that we shoot out will also hit multiple enemies as well. So the auto attack is a very fun and powerful ability, and we're going to see with basically all of these weapon skills here, they are pretty good for anyone who's wanting to run a power build. So a lot of the pistols are pretty decent for like condi damage builds, even though I'm not too experienced with like what engineers use for condi builds, since I normally use power builds for engineer. The rifle is very good for power builds. With our second skill here, we have Blunderbuss, which fires several shards of shrapnel that inflict more damage the closer you are to foes. You and nearby allies gain might, so it's just a nice and very powerful attack. And it does apply bleeding to enemies, which is a nice little boost of damage, but for the most part we're kind of just looking at the maximum damage that it's able to do when we are right up against enemies, because it deals more damage the closer we are. We have one more Skritt here. We can go ahead and use Net Shot on it, which is basically just an immobilize and deals a little bit of damage, but it's nice because this is like a ranged weapon, so when a melee enemy is getting close to us, we can use Net Shot and it'll keep them in place, and then we will have a little bit of extra time to deal some damage to any enemies before they get up to us. And we completed this task, and we also just leveled up to level 11. So now I'm going to go ahead and run out of here, and we'll go ahead and explore a little bit more of the map so we can see what the last 2 weapons on our rifle skill is. But before we move on, let's go ahead and go talk to the scout down here, and we can see what the next area of Metrica Province looks like.
There's some very interesting research going on in the Ak Wilds. Dr. Blint, as he insists on being called, has been distilling a drink from oozes, much to the chagrin of local peacemakers. Ruda, specifically, is investigating Blint's suspect practices. Also, Parna has been reconstructing a gate that she thinks will give access to an ancient transfer chamber. Quite exhilarating, really.
So let's go ahead and run down here a little bit. We can see there's a giant town over there, but we're not going to explore that right now. I can grab the waypoint while we're right here, I guess, so we have it unlocked so we can return here in the future when we are ready. But let's go ahead and come up here and we can go ahead and work on this task here, which is helping Dr. Blint's research with the oozes. So let's go ahead and fight this ooze right here. So looking at the last two skills for our rifle, we have Overcharge Shot, which fire a blast so strong that it launches your foe as the recoil frees you from any movement impairing conditions. So this is a pretty good rounded ability where it will basically knock any enemies back, which is a Defiance break if the enemy has a break bar like any champions. So let's go ahead and find an ooze to just see what this looks like. I see a victim right here. Let's go ahead and fire a few shots and then use this, and you can see it just knocks them super far back. And then we could do a nice combo with this where we could use our 4 ability and then we can use net shot and then we could deal a ton of damage. We could even throw in a blunderbuss right before we do overcharge shot. And then let's look at our 5th ability, which is jump shot, where you blast the ground, damaging nearby foes and leaping to your target. So wherever we leap up from, we will deal some damage to our enemies, and then wherever we land, we will also deal a ton of damage to our enemies. So let's go ahead and attack this ooze, and there's also a worm hatchling here, and you can just deal a ton of damage to both of them. We took about half their health, but just that ability, so pretty good. So overall, rifle is a really good weapon, and probably my favorite weapon for engineer. Maybe some of the elite specialization weapons I like a little bit more, but overall, especially for core engineer, I definitely love the rifle. Just leveled up to level 12, which is very nice. Let's go ahead and just grab our rewards here, and then I'm going to go ahead and run away from this area, and we can see there's another little bit of a jumping area right here up to a floating platform. And what this floating platform is that we can see once we get up here, as we jump across all these, it is a floating garden full of potatoes. And this is a pretty fun location because one of the dailies that occurs is to harvest a bunch of plants in certain regions of the world. So when that region of the world is the Maguma jungle, people like to come here because this is an easy place to get a bunch of plants in order to complete that daily. You only need to harvest 4 plants to complete the daily, and there are like 10 here, so it's a pretty good spot. Also, if anyone ever needs potatoes, pretty good spot to come to. But I'll drop down here and let's head to the last task in this direction of the map. Can get this waypoint with this beautiful waterfall in the background, as well as some Asuran architecture in the distance there. And then we can see that there's an Asuran gate here, and I might go ahead and try running through it really quickly because I believe sometimes it is off, and when it is off we can't go through it, but when it is on we can indeed go through it to a special location that doesn't really matter too much, and there is an event chain that goes on in here. But I'm just going to take a look in here. We can see it is Calc's hideout. It is in the most southeastern corner of this map here in Metrica Province, and it's just an event area, but it's really beautiful. It's a nice Asuran architecture with some lava and some destroyers, which these are the minions of Primordus, and I believe we have not seen them yet at all in this entire Let's Play series. Oh wait, we saw them in Keswick's Hills, that's correct. And this area actually allows us to complete the task, so maybe I'll go ahead and sit here for a little bit and we can go ahead and fight some of these destroyers and we can work on this event. So I'll go ahead and run up here and I'll give these data crystals that we have over to Parna here. I see over here there's a chest, so let's go ahead and run this way and we can open this chest. I think this event might be bugged, so I might just go turn in whatever data crystals I have left and then I'll go ahead and run out of here. But nevertheless, a very pretty area. Yeah, I think it's definitely bugged. Oh well, let's go ahead and waypoint back out, and then we can go grab that vista I see right there. In order to get to the vista, we have to fight through the Skritt cave here, and it's just another area that there's a bunch of Skritts. I believe it's kind of connected. We have the Serpent Wind here, which is where we saw Skritts earlier, and we have Sunshade Caves here, and I believe there's a passage that connects the two. So just a big Skritt area here in Metrica Province with a couple of tasks to deal with them. The Skritt are a really interesting race because they are basically a hive mind race, where Skritt by themselves are one of the most stupid creatures in the entirety of Tyria, where they are basically unable to do anything at all, can't really think at all. But when they are in large groups, they are able to communicate with each other very well, and depending on the size of the group, they become smarter and smarter, where very, very large groups of Skritt are actually considered some of the smartest creatures in all of Tyria. So the Asuran try to make sure that Skritt never get too close to each other, never group up in too big of a group so they don't become too powerful. And then probably so the Asuran can stay as one of the most intelligent races in the world as well. They probably wouldn't enjoy being knocked down a tier. But we completed this task and we leveled up a third time already this episode. Super fast leveling, and now we can get this vista. Now I'm going to skate the Wrath of the Skritt there by dying from falling, so let's go ahead and waypoint, and then I'm going to go ahead and waypoint back towards Sorendra, and then we can begin our first mission for the first chapter of our personal story here on this new character. So we got 2 pieces of mail, and they both relate to the first mission that we are about to do. The first is from Zojja, titled "The Snaf Prize is Up for Grabs." Hey, just a quick note to say thanks again for helping me put the Inquest in its place. I hear you've been busy out here and that you've entered the Snaf Prize competition. I have to remain impartial, of course, but I'm eager to see you demonstrate what else you can do. See you there, Zojja. And then we have this one from Vark, titled "The Snaf Prize Must Be Ours." Altruism is all well and good, but have you forgotten that the Snaf Prize competition is underway? This is for the most prestigious title an inventor can earn, so we need you to do your part for the College of Synergetics and help demonstrate our teleportation device. Time is growing short, and so is my patience, and if you use that to make any cracks about my height, you're fired. Get over to the parade grounds near Obscura Incline and wear your most convincing smile. From Vark, Genius. So let's go ahead and come into the story mission here, titled "The Snaf Prize." Snaf was a very important character from the book before Guild Wars 2.
Finally, you're here. We had to give up our space in the queue. Now the College of Synergetics is behind Dynamics, Statics, and Inquest.
With respect, sir, that just means they've saved the best for last. Our interspatial translocator is this year's clear winner.
One hopes. Remember, the founder of the event and one of the judges is Zojja, a Synergetics alumnus. She'll hold us to a higher standard.
Let's review once more, okay? I'll operate the translocator. I give the judges some banter, explain the translocator's brilliance, and then...
Then you fire it at me. I'm the most familiar with the device and with being teleported, so I'm the least likely to regurgitate breakfast all over the judges' table.
Exactly. You appear in a blinding flash of electrified brilliance, we prove teleportation is possible without a receiving gate, and the Snaf Prize is ours! It's brilliant! I can't wait to see the expression on the judges' faces.
Right now, crewmate Paul, they just look bored. They're waiting for us, so let's get out there and dazzle them. Snaf Prize, here we come.
Yes, Teyo, your floating Griswhirl is very impressive.
May I have your attention, please? Behold, teleportation without a receiver. And note that my assistant is completely intact.
Solid work, Vark. And this is the second time your assistant has impressed me.
You put on quite a show with other people's work. That teleporter is Inquest property. Fork it over.
What? Never. This is my crew's invention, and we'll die before we give it up to the likes of you.
We will? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we will.
I was hoping you'd say that. Inquest, you heard those plagiarists. Kill them all!
So it looks like Teyo is here and the
Never
Inquest are
capitulate.
attacking, so let's go ahead and deal with them, and we can go ahead and just deal a ton of damage to them all, and then hopefully we'll be able to deal with Teyo. She's accusing us of stealing technology from the Inquest, which I have a feeling is a lie. We have 2 golems here, a Mark 1 golem and a Mark 2.
The contest is over. I hereby declare that Vark and his crew win this year's Snaf Prize.
Unacceptable! That device derived from Inquest research, and I have evidence to prove it.
That's a serious allegation. The judges will certainly look into it, but in the meantime, the decision stands. However, in light of Teyo's evidence, the Inquest may now reclaim its property. After the Council fully investigates, credit and blame will be assigned to the deserving parties.
So let's go ahead and talk to Zojja here. Before we chat with Zojja though, really quickly, I want to mention that Snaf is a really important character from the book Edge of Destiny before Guild Wars 2 released, and he was a member of Destiny's Edge. So while each of the races had one member that was part of Destiny's Edge, the Asuran were made up 2 of the members for a total of 7 if you want to count Mr. Sparkles as being one of them. I think he was there. But Snaf died in the book, and this is named after him in his memory, as well as a bunch of other places around this area that we will see. Now, let's go ahead and chat with Zojja.
Nothing's exploded.
This is an outrage. How could the Council credit an inquest loud over a genius like me? We can't even claim the title Snaf Savant in circumstances like these. I will not go down in history as the only Snaf prize winners with an asterisk by their name. This calls for an incredibly stern letter of protest.
Save your ink, Vark. It's obvious Flax and Teyo are working together, and I will not let them besmirch Snaf's memory.
Zojja's right. The Council accepted that protest and gave away our translocator suspiciously fast. I think that whole charade was rehearsed.
Which means it's only a matter of time before they rescind their decision, take away your victory, and award the Snaf prize to the Inquest. I say we even the score. Let's take back your teleporter by force before they take away your right to do it legally.
Translocator. Sounds like a plan to me. I put a tracking device in to avoid a repeat of the sewer incident. That will tell us where to find it.
Count me in. It'll be tough, but I have a stake in this too. And maybe if I help recover the translocator, you'll stop bringing up the sewer incident.
Let's get started then. You pinpoint their location with a tracking device, and we'll intercept them before they can lock it up in one of their labs. I've a few preparations to make and a few allies to switch on. I'll meet you on the road.
So we completed the first mission here. Let's go ahead and just accept our reward here, and nothing too good. Let's go ahead and also get our level up reward. We have leveled up to level 14, and let's go ahead and return to the open world. Now it looks like our next mission is all the way over here on the eastern side of this lock here. So let's go ahead and just come down here and enter the next mission. So let's go ahead and head this way, and I want to take a quick look at our hero points here, and I want to go ahead and pick up a skill for us to put into our first utility skill slot here. And I think the first one I'm going to look at is turrets. I want to take a look at some of the different turrets that we can use, because this is one of the unique skill lines for engineers. No other class in the game has access to turrets, only engineers. So let's go ahead and train this up, and I think I'll just learn the rifle turret. And let's go ahead and equip this here, and next time we are in combat we can take a look at what this is. So entering taking credit back, let's go ahead and run over here and talk to Zojja. We have our friend here, and then we also have Mr. Sparkles.
Initiating stealth protocol.
Welcome to the ambush party. The Inquest column should be along at any moment now.
I'm eager to pin the Inquest's ears back. Is this a straight smash and grab, or are there hidden subtleties?
Sure. We'll subtly punch their faces, crack their golems, and take what they stole. Mr. Sparkles here was just made for subtlety.
Subtle enough for me, and no less than they deserve.
Is there any chance we can do this without resorting to violence? Guys? Guys? Oh well, you can't blame me for helping.
So now we can ambush the Inquest caravan. So let's go ahead and run down here, and how our rifle turret works is we can place it down anywhere on the ground wherever we are standing, and basically it'll summon a turret on the ground which will just sit there and it'll shoot at enemies. So we can put it down in a good location where it won't get hurt, and then it will just deal a ton of damage to any enemies. We can also blow it up if it's about to die and if it's on a group of enemies, so we can use that to get some extra damage. And then our tool belt here is we just fire a bullet out of our belt, so it's just another little skill here that just deals some extra damage. So we have the column here. Let's go ahead and run into here, go ahead and put this down on the ground, and then start blasting. So we have our rifle turret there that is shooting them, and then we have our own rifle that is shooting them, so we can just deal a ton of damage here. So we have to be careful of these shields that some of the golems have, because they are going to reflect our projectiles, and basically all our abilities right now are just projectiles, so let's be careful. And it looks like the golems kind of beeline for my rifle turret there and destroyed it, so that's unfortunate. But we were able to deal with most of these golems before my own turret died. Let's go ahead and pick this up, and then looks like there are a ton more Inquests coming this way.
Well, 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 what's this? Patent infringement, perhaps? That is, my patent infringing on your freedom. I knew you petty-minded losers would try to steal the interspatial translocator. That's why I set this trap, which you fell for because you're stupid.
How did you get to Counselor Flax? Bribes? Blackmail? Or did you put the fear in him? When we expose this rotten mess, you'll pay for what you've done.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we're gonna kick your behind so hard you'll be wearing it as a hat. Right, Mr. Sparkles?
Affirmative. Prepare to don the behind hat.
Yes, yes, very threatening. I'm literally quaking with fear, so badly that I can barely clean up you loose ends by doing this! Okay, Subject 1, let's get you into a cage. Subject 2, time to get you all nice and disassembled. On to Subject 3. Wait, it's starting to smoke. What?
So it looks like we were
think this
sent
might
away.
be the first time a device malfunction has worked in our favor. We were probably supposed to end up in a volcano. Or the sewers. Again.
So let's go ahead and find the other members of our team, which means Zojja. So let's go ahead and run this way. We can look
Better
at our
keep
map
moving.
here.
The Inquest must be out looking for us.
And then there are some inquests here, so let's go ahead and deal with them.
Wait, nobody knows where Vark's crew ended up? This is the Inquest, not Progeny Playtime.
And then let's go ahead and run this way. Looks like there are inquests all over the hills here, so we just have to be careful. And we have this lab here that looks like the Inquest took over.
Is that Mr. Sparkles back there? I wanted to dismantle him and crawl around in his guts for ages.
And with this group taken care of, looks like we have Mr. Sparkles right here, so let's go ahead and resurrect him, put him back together.
Oh no, Mr. Sparkles! It'll take some repairs and a lot of metal polish before you live up to that name again.
Welcome back, Mr. Sparkles. I need to know what happened. Where's Zojja?
Insufficient data at this time. Working. There. I have located Zojja's tracking signal. She is in the Inquest's Metrica Province lab.
If Zojja's there, so is Teyo. And I want to give Teyo a piece of my mind, and all of my fist. Meet me there, Mr. Sparkles, and we'll bust Zojja out. Head back to the lab, Paul. You'll be safe there. Do some digging and see if you can find anything that will give us an edge.
Finally, a task that doesn't require bruising or being bruised. I'm on it.
So we completed this mission, and Zojja is at some other lab in Metrica Province, so let's go ahead and accept our reward here and then try to find that lab. It appears that the lab in question is the Funhouse, which is a lab that we raided last episode, so let's go ahead and do another little invasion here and kill a bunch of Inquests and try to find Zojja. A sparkling rescue. Can go ahead and load in, and then we have this gate in our
Zojja
way.
requires rescue. Must break down offending door.
And Mr. Sparkles by our side. So let's go ahead and push forward, and then once this gate is down, we can go ahead and push in. There are a ton of Inquests coming to, it looks like they're on fire, which is a little concerning. They're also invulnerable, and they died. So let's go ahead and run past them. Looks like there is some fighting going on in this room here. There are a ton of Inquests running, and let's go ahead and see what exactly is going on here. It looks like there's some prisoners that are fighting them. Looks like stuff is blowing up. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Hey, you! With the ears! How about a little assist here, eh?
So let's go ahead and just clear out some of these Inquests, and then we can go and try to find Zojja. Can go ahead, and I'm just going to come up here, and we can throw down our rifle turret. And then I'll run back this way, and it looks like let's go down under and just go for the turret. Let's go ahead and fight this technician here, and then it looks like Zojja's this way a little bit, so let's go ahead and push this way. Looks like we cleared everything on the way here, so I'm going to go ahead and blow up my turret so I can get it back in 20 seconds. And then 2 Inquests are attacking Zojja. Let's go ahead and help her out here. Go ahead and just use our rifle to deal a ton of damage to them all. We have a few AoE attacks, which is good. And then we can go ahead and finish the last one off and rescue Zojja here.
Zojja, are you hurt? We came to rescue you, but judging from the fire and fallen Inquest, you handled it well on your own.
Not quite. It took all I had to get this far and hold them off. Thanks, by the way. I did not want to jump off this cliff. I hate getting wet. They've been testing your teleporter on more innocents. When they're done, the subjects are disposed of with a prototype incinerator golem. When I busted out, their next victim was behind a force field by the stairs. You probably saw him on the way in.
I did. And it's time to get the inquest to cease and desist. Which means let's go smash us a prototype incinerator golem.
Done and done. You take the lead. Mr. Sparkles and I will watch your back.
So this is absolutely horrible. Let's go ahead and run back into the base here, and we can go ahead and find the incinerator golem. I guess now let's go ahead and come into our skills again here, and let's go into kit training and let's learn some kits. So kits are another unique engineer skill that we can have, and it's very nice because while engineer can only have 4 different weapons, pistol in both hands, shield and rifle, they can have kits which basically act like another weapon. So let's go ahead and just learn the first 2 kits here so we can learn flamethrower, which is one of my favorite things in the entire game. So we can go ahead and put this on our skill bar, and we get the special thing where we burn foes with our next 3 attacks on our utility bar. But if you press shift 3, as I have keep out here, we will equip the flamethrower, and we will get 5 brand new weapon skills here that basically do a bunch of different things, but all have to do with dealing fire damage. So let's go ahead and come in here and incinerate the Inquest who have been incinerating innocent people, and let's get some vengeance and come over here and let's deal with this prototype incinerator golem.
Hostiles approaching. Destroy.
Defensive protocols online.
Our auto attack is very basic. We then have a flame blast here, which is basically an AoE ranged attack.
Damage
we have air blast,
minimal.
which is similar to our rifle
Damage
4, which
report
basically just knocks them back.
damaged.
We have napalm, which puts a line of fire on the floor, and then we have smoke vent, which will blind nearby enemies. Not too good of an ability, but can deal some nice break bar damage to maybe any enemies if we need it. And then we can just finish off this incinerator golem.
Defensive protocols suspended.
And then let's go ahead and regroup with Zojja.
That's one less mechanism for the Inquest to exploit the innocent. Now for the bad news. Vark sold you out. I didn't want to say anything at first. I hate betrayals even more than getting wet. And I figured, hey, you might get killed and then I wouldn't have to tell you.
Pragmatic as always. But I can't believe that about Vark. I've known him for ages, and he's always been loyal to the crew.
Not this time. Vark is working with the Inquest. How else could they have known about our ambush plans? Why else would they kidnap Paul? Sorry, did I neglect to mention that too? They took Paul to keep him quiet and to use as leverage against you. That gives you a tough choice to make. Vark is slippery and Paul's in danger. Go after one, you'll lose the other. So tell me, what's more important to you, revenge or rescue? Whichever you choose, I'm coming with you.
So now we have a really difficult decision here. So we can either go after the traitor in our crew who sold us out and basically messed everything up, or we can save our friend, and I think I'm going to go ahead and save our friend because he is our crewmate and we just can't leave him to die. So let's pick that option, and then let's go ahead and try to find where he is and then save him from the Inquest, and then maybe hopefully we can deal with Vark at another time. Level up to level 16, get a reward, and then let's find where he's located. Back further north in Metrica Province, let's go ahead and run down here, and then we can go ahead and enter the story mission, Stand By Your Crew.
Hey, over here!
You have Zojja and Mr.
It's
Sparkles.
that way.
Let's go ahead and equip our flamethrower here, and then let's come into the marsh, and we have another Inquest base here with some Inquest on the outside, so let's go ahead and start dealing with them. Fire sound on the napalm, and then let's burn them all alive. Let's go ahead and use the security terminal, and it is requesting a code. And we can try again with another code, maybe. Return to menu, attempt to bypass the security measures. We could reverse the data flow couplings to overload the security system registry and then open the door. So it looks like we got mail for instructions to reset password. Your credentials do not appear in our database and we were unable to provide you with the information you seek. Please be advised that any additional requests for data without valid credentials could result in criminal charges, civil lawsuits, censure, or sanctioned by the Arcane Council. Looks like they're missing an Oxford Karma there, ain't it? Please fix. Revocation of your archive privileges, and a visit from one of our Lakebreaker 5000 credentialing and enforcement golems. So, very concerning. But let's go ahead and run into here, and we see we have a crewmate here, so let's go ahead and rescue Paul.
Hey, over here! Help! I knew you wouldn't leave me to rot. Vark's crew takes care of its own. I don't want to be too negative, but I absolutely hate it here.
That makes 2 of us. Now to get you out.
Easier said than done. The door opens only to the correct code. If you try and fail, it sets off an alarm. There's a golem upstairs that generates the code. It changes all the time. Even the guards check it before they open the door.
Then I'll check it too, and knock its block off. I'll be back as soon as I retrieve the code from its smoking ruins.
So let's go ahead and run up here so we can obtain the password. It looks like we have some inquests here. Just deal with them really quickly.
Intruder alert! Get them!
We have a nice window out into the marsh here that we were just at. A very kind of pretty atmosphere here where we have this like technological base, and then we have a nice window here. But let's go ahead and deal with this turret, I guess. It looks like it activated as we ran past it, and then we can come up here and fight these golems as well. Go ahead and throw down my rifle turret, and then let's go ahead and just use both of our flamethrower and our rifle and just deal a ton of damage to everyone here. We can use our healing potion to get healed back up.
Unauthorized access. Structural integrity failing. Unit damaged. Prepare to structural integrity 0. You win, intruder, this time.
So we have the code golem here. Let's go ahead and examine it. And it says 311 cell door code obtained. So let's go ahead and come down here. And then let's go into the cell controls. And you can type 311 and then unlock the cell.
Fascinating as this architecture is, I've seen enough. Let's go.
We need those prisoners. Don't let them escape.
So it looks like there's some inquests blocking our escape here, so let's go ahead and deal with them as well. Should be pretty easy, as we've seen the inquests are very weak and pathetic, so let's go ahead and just continue dealing with them all. We have a senior engineer here who's a little bit stronger than the rest that we've had to deal with, but still pretty easy. And she's dealt with, so let's go ahead and escape out here through the front entrance, and let's go ahead and reconvene with our allies.
I appreciate the save, but there's more to do. The Inquest has grandiose plans for our teleporter at Rayna Landing. We should tell Vark.
Or not. He's involved. I overheard the Inquest saying that he told them of our ambush.
That doesn't make sense. Unless there was something in it for him. Vark does like control, power. What'd they offer?
He's maneuvering for a seat on the council. With the Inquest backing, he'd have all the influence he could ever want.
Oh, yeah? Well, after what he did to us, he deserves a gigantic screwdriver influenced into his skull. I may not be at 100%, but I want in.
Good. You and Zojja meet me at Rayna Landing. I won't let the Inquest keep our invention, but I will show them the power of a real genius at work.
Another mission completed. Let's go ahead and just pick up our rewards, and then let's go ahead and head to Rayna's Landing, which is right over here. We were just at the Inquest base all the way over there, and now we are here, so let's go ahead and enter this mission here, and then let's deal with the Inquest. We have the Rayna Landing complex. Let's go ahead and chat with Zojja and see what is going on here.
What is this? Who let the Inquest into Rayna Landing? And why are they throwing a party?
It looks like Teyo and her crew are showing off the invention they stole from us.
And the Inquest never does anything this public without at least 3 ulterior motives.
Then we have ample reason to interrupt them. And we're replete with reasons to kick Teyo down a flight of stairs.
2 excellent ideas, but so hard to choose. I know. Let's do them both.
Yeah. It'll be like having our cake and kicking it, too. Look out, Inquest. It's payback time.
So with Zojja and Paul by our side, let's go ahead and storm into here and confront Teyo.
Welcome. Prepare to be astonished by the one and only original astrospatial displacement zapper. Just press a button, and your target is whisked away to any destination you choose. No receiving gate required. Here, have an up-close and personal demonstration.
Your patter smells worse than fertilizer golem exhaust, Teyo. It's a trap, you ignoramuses.
What's cooking, genius? Ha! Don't get used to being called that, by the way. I was being ironic. Prepare to be amazed. Behold, our first large-scale demonstration.
Hey, what gift?
Isn't my turret simply brilliant? Don't get too close now.
So let's go ahead and deal with all these power generators here, and then hopefully we can deal with Teyo. So let's go ahead and throw down our rifle turret here. So it looks like the turret's in the middle here, and it's being powered by these different generators. So I think once we destroy the generators, we will be able to destroy the turret, and we can also deal damage to Teyo while we do that. And it looks like we need to be really careful in case we get hit by it, because we'll get teleported around. But it looks like it's kind of teleporting us a short distance, so we don't have to worry too much about it. It's just going to be an inconvenience for us. So 2 of the power generators are destroyed, and I just got teleported again. We have 1 more power generator up here, which is at 8%, 5%, and
we have a clear
destroyed.
shot at the teleporter turret. Get it!
So let's go ahead and deal with this teleporter
the more
turret.
you'll suffer.
And then Teyo is also almost dead here. So let's go ahead and focus on the turret first so we can get this threat out of the way. And then we can go focus on Teyo afterwards. I just got teleported again. Go ahead and put out my rifle. The flamethrower is basically kind of like a melee weapon, so we want to use it when we're up close, and then we do not want to use it when we're far away.
Teyo's turret is down. I wonder how tough she is when she can't run.
And then let's go ahead and finish off Teyo here.
That's it. When magic and machinery fail, it's time for some good old-fashioned physical fun.
It looks like we were able to kill Teyo there, so let's go ahead and chat with Zojja.
Teyo's been a mite in my ear for a long time. Thanks for helping me take her down. Sorry about your invention, though.
It wasn't my invention. It was the Inquest's abuse of my invention. I'm glad to see it go. Time to move on to other projects.
What about the people Teyo zapped out of here? Where are they?
Leave that to Mr. Sparkles and me. We'll locate Teyo's victims, punt a few inquests around, make a day of it.
That sounds like fun. Color me jealous. Thanks for all your help, Zojja. We College of Synergetics alumni should stick together.
Count on it, Savant. I don't say this to everybody. Well, not anybody really, but I would love to work with you again.
That makes 2 of us. Hang on a second. Did you just call me Savant?
I did. Your crew won the SNAF prize, and Paul has graciously ceded the title to you.
It's the least I can do. You did do most of the work. Plus, you saved me from being caramelized like sugar in a skillet.
In other words, you've earned it. I'll tell the council to make it official. Keep up the good work, Savant. I'll be seeing you soon.
So we have completed this story mission. We have dealt with Teyo. We got our Blackline chest key here, and we are now officially the winner of the SNAF prize, and we are now the SNAF Savant. So all in all, pretty good day. Let's go ahead and get our level reward because we leveled up to level 17. And then let's go ahead and head back out into the open world because we are now finished with this chapter of the personal story. And for the most part, I'm done with this episode, but I want to take a moment to explore the Asuran capital city, Rata Sum, for just a little bit. So let's go ahead and waypoint back to Sornjaw, and then we can head into the city. So right at the waypoint here, we can go ahead and turn around, and then we have the giant portal here, and we can go ahead and run through the portal, and we see there's an Asura gate on the other side. So while we have Sornjaw here, which is this little Asuran village right outside the city of Rata Sum, we have to go through this Asura gate, and we can see we have this beautiful concept art here, which really freaked me out as a child, and I really didn't like the Asura because of how they looked in this concept art, but they eventually grew on me. But as we teleport into Rata Sum, you can see that we will be in a giant city, and I'm going to keep talking while we keep loading. This is a really long loading screen, and it's just continuously going and just spinning around in a circle, in a circle, in a circle. I give up. And we are now inside Rata Sum, and we can see it is a really cool city. There's a giant floating cube in the middle of the city. We have these giant pyramids coming off, 3 of them, 1 for each of the colleges. And if we come over here, we can see that Rata Sum is high up in the air, and it's kind of like a really interesting comparison to what the Asurans used to be, where they used to have giant cities under the ground, and now their biggest city is way high up in the air. And you can see that there are beautiful mountains all around us. If you take a look at our road map here, we can see that Rata Sum is on the coast here next to the Tarnished Coast, and is also high up in the mountains of this little bit of a mountain range that exists right here. So let's go ahead and run this way a little bit, and we'll just take a little bit of time to explore the city. This is a really interesting city because it's kind of small compared to the other ones in the sense of horizontal space. The bulk of the city is in this cube we can see on the map here, and then there are a few little areas that we can explore on the outskirts. So let's go ahead and just come over here and we can explore this area. But in the center of the city, we can actually see that it goes down to multiple levels. So while it's small horizontally as far as we can run, and we can go down multiple levels, so they're all stacked on top of each other. And a big theme with the city is that there are a ton of Asura gates, not only just this Asura gate here in the northern edge that takes us to Lion's Arch, there are a ton of Asura gates that take us to different parts of the city. So we can go to Antidon Anchorage here, for example, which is the harbor down in Rata Sum, and if we come all the way over here, we can look up and we can see Rata Sum off in the distance there. We see that giant cube floating all the way up there. But we can come here and we can see that there are a ton of boats here, and there's a submarine right there, and we can go ahead and work our way up here and we can take a look at this vista. Just overall a really beautiful location. We can see off in the horizon there are a ton of mountains off there, and these mountains, if you look at our road map, is the Ring of Fire chain, as well as a few other islands out here as well. So a far off location that we will explore one day, but for now we can just gaze upon it, and then we can also turn around and see Rata Sum off in the distance, as well as a few other areas. So let's go ahead and go up there next and we'll just take a look at that. Of course, let's go ahead and grab this waypoint first. And there's Dawnside Quay right here. You can go ahead and come down here. It's another side of the harbor, but a little bit smaller. And then we have this Asura gate here that would take us back to Rata Sum. And it took us to the entrance that we came in at from the Metrica Province Asura gate. So we went from Metrica Province into here, and then we went to Dawnside Quay. Let's now go to the Idea Incubation Lab, which is that location that we saw when we were down at the docks. We are now up here at this cube, and we have this waypoint here that we can get, and then there's a point of interest in here that we could grab as well, but it is locked off right now.
Back, citizen. This area is off limits.
So a very interesting communication style by that Asura, but we can see we're now a little bit higher up than we were down at the docks, but we're lower than we were in Rata Sum, and you can see that there's a dam right there with this river that leads out into the ocean. So very cool area. But let's go ahead and come back into Rata Sum once more, and let's look at a couple more locations. I, of course, will continue completing this map in a different episode because we are getting near the end of this one, but let's go ahead and just come into here, and we can go ahead and get the point of interest that's right here. That is the Magihedron, and then we have right here, which is a little bit of a jumping puzzle to get up to this vista. So let's go ahead and climb our way up these routes here, and then I fell a little bit, so let's go ahead and maybe come down here, I think, and then up here. And then we could climb across these routes here and then jump onto those, and then do it one more time coming up these routes in order to get to this last little alcove here and then get a look at this vista. So very beautiful view of a Rata Sum. Let's go ahead and come over here. You can see that there are 3 little alcoves with the Asura gates here, and we have another one right here, one of which is closed for public access right now, and then one which leads to Lion's Arch. And then right here, I'm just going to hint at this, we are going to return here one day, but this is a really, really fun thing, and honestly is one of my single most favorite things in the entire game. It is only available for 3 weeks of the year because it is a festival, and it is called Super Adventure Box, and one day we will explore this. We have Modo, one of my favorite characters, but that is an adventure for another day. Let's go ahead and come into here. You can go ahead and get this point of interest right here, which is the PR-1000 prototype golem. We also got the point of interest down here, which is an undiscovered one, or we got it already. Well, it's the Thaumaturgic Calculus, which is a very fun name to pronounce. And I believe we got everything on the top level, so I'm not going to fully explore the 2nd or 3rd level or the other places we need to explore, but let's go ahead and come down here. And this is like the main commerce area here in Rata Sum. This is the most important waypoint to get, so it's a good thing we have this. And we have all the banks, and the guild bank, and the trading post here, and then off in 3 different directions are 3 different crafting areas that we can explore at another time. But as far as this episode goes, I'm going to go ahead and call it good here. We completed the first chapter of the Asuran personal story, and I hope you all enjoyed playing through that with me. I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Tyria. Goodbye.